Hello. Hi, Bianca.
Hey, Alex. I was like, where's my sound?
I know it took me a second too. Welcome to A/B testing, everybody. A very, very, very special A/B testing.
Very, very, very. It is.
Number? So it's number 40. Is this number? No, this is number 46. So like the number is not impressive. Well, it's impressive that we got that far, but this is our 1 year anniversary.
I know. It's kind of wild. I'm like, yeah, lots of streams.
Yeah.
I also am cracking up though, because this has the reality of like stream life. Yeah, today I feel like we both are coming on this stream so tired. Alex was like, yeah, we've been streaming for like a year, and I was like, so much is happening, so much is going on, didn't even plan. So that's how we're coming into the stream adventures. But 1 year.
Revertables asked where we're going for our anniversary. So oddly enough, both Bianca and I were traveling to the same place. Last weekend. We were both in the City of Angels in Los Angeles, but I was on the east side and Bianca was on the west side. So we might as well still have been in Denver and Atlanta. Way too far. It was also a quick trip, so we didn't make it happen. But like, yeah, we were in the same city yesterday, or I guess this weekend.
Yeah. Also, so I think maybe in honor of sponsored, not sponsored, I think we can do a trip to Whole Foods. That can be our celebratory, adventure. Grab a snack, grab a new item. That you haven't tried yet.
We went to Erewhon in LA because,
Oh my God, I did too. I was like, gosh.
It's wild and dangerous and amazing.
It is. I was like, wow, I feel like a LA a loss, whatever you call it.
Angelino.
It was great. I get the hype. I understand it.
It was also like, but then you're also like, some stuff's reasonable, and then you get like a breakfast burrito for $18 or a $22 smoothie.
I couldn't go that far. I did though. I got the smoothie.
Of course you did.
I got the smoothie.
Did you get the Hailey Bieber?
No, I got the there was another one. It had like, oh man, it was some other person's smoothie.
There's a lot of people's smoothies.
Yeah, it had good stuff for your brain. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here let's see. Some of my friends got the Hailey Bieber one, which was really tasty.
Okay.
Let's see if I can pull up the menu in a second here.
So yeah, there was like the Hailey Bieber smoothie, and then there was another, it was like, oh, see, great, fantastic. So I went with the Deeper Wellness smoothie. Let's see what we have here. Let's see. Okay.
The Deeper Wellness.
Yeah.
It was the Casey Musgraves.
Yeah. Okay. So we had some almond. It did not look like that because it was, I just, they have to make it look aesthetic. But yeah. Lots of good stuff.
Got some lion's mane, some sea moss, collagen. That's nice. I'm trying to figure out which one I got.
What'd you get? Was it like?
I thought I got a chocolatey one, but I don't know if it was the peanut butter blast. I don't know if it's here.
Okay. All right.
I don't know.
Okay.
I can't remember.
Interesting.
Anyways, we're not even on sponsored, not sponsored, and we're already there. But yes,
so we're already there.
1 year ago tomorrow was our first stream together, which is wild.
Who was here for our pilot chat? I'm curious who's here for the pilot.
Who's the Chef Brent? Yes, you were here. That was a requirement.
Yeah.
I feel like Revertables might have made a showing. I feel like Frackberg might have been there. I don't know at what point RJ you started joining.
Okay.
B as in Bianca told you about it, or B as in the Chef B?
B as in Brent. The Chef B, I feel like he knew the first B before me B. So like I'll let Brent get the B for that. In the Twitch land. In the Twitch land, Brent takes B precedence. You know, because
Chefy B knows how to gather a crew. That's very true.
Indeed. So yeah, no, that's it. I think like, yeah, it's just so wild. It's like how quickly time goes. And then also like, I've mentioned this on a past stream, but I think I'm grateful that you were just like, all right, great. We're just going to do this one day. And like, yeah. So
let's do let's do sponsored, not sponsored. And then let's jump into like how this show came about and then like the evolution of it through the year. But yeah, Brent, do you want to join us for sponsored, not sponsored?
Oh, I sure do, but I'm going over there.
Okay.
I should be on the right side. I don't like that. I know y'all said the guest should be in the center so you could like talk in on me. It's just
I think
weird.
I think
you
we
can go wherever you want.
Y'all should look towards the middle. Just be like, Brent, what's your spot? Nope, you got to go the other way, Bianca.
Bianca, you got to go the other way. You're mirrored.
It's so
there you go.
It's so interesting.
Yeah, that's not awkward at all. That's not awkward at all.
No.
Hey, sorry friends out there that are like, ooh, the bot's back. Yeah, but it's a bot day. I'm sorry.
I kind of wish it was a bot day over here too.
Sorry. It's a bot day.
It's a bot day. All right. So what do you have for sponsored, not sponsored? Welcome to Sponsored, Not Sponsored.
You want me to go first? You want me to go first? I can go first.
Yeah, you go first.
Is bot day like bones no bones day? Yeah, it's like a no bones day. Yeah, it's absolutely like a no bones day. Absolutely 100% lutely. So you know what? I did a thing too. So my sponsored, not sponsored, is what I'm eating right now, which is Factor 75 for those of you that aren't in the know. Factor is a meal thing. It's, it shows up on Sunday here, and it's meals for the entire week that take like literally 5 minutes to heat up. Most of them you heat them up for like 3 minutes. And then you stir it, and then you heat it up for another 2 minutes. I'll pull up my screen. Let me pull up. I don't want to like, I don't want to super sell it because it's not actually sponsored. Even though I did mention before the stream, I do have free box codes if anybody wants it. But let me do this real quick. Present.
Has there been like a meal that you've really? Oh,
yeah, I can speak to that, I suppose. Like, you know what? This isn't. I'm gonna lay it out there for you. This isn't like the most fantastic food in the world. Like, you're not gonna be absolutely blown away, but it's better than I expected. For like pre-made meals that you just heat up on the microwave. Are you a bigger fan of this compared to HelloFresh? I'll get into that in a moment. Let me look at the weekly menu and see if the thing that I'm eating
HelloFresh
right now
involves cooking.
Yeah,
I think this is
it's just different. It's very different. This is already cooked, right? Let me see if the one that I'm eating right now is on this menu. I can search for it if not.
I've definitely seen the boxes, but like, yeah.
What I have right now is it's a chicken with mashed potato and leek, but I'm not seeing that one on this menu, even though it was definitely on this menu. Oh, that's next week's menu. That's probably why. Can I search? I don't have the name for this one either, but they're all very the ones with chicken are all very similar, and I get these because they're high in protein and relatively low in carbs and calories. Like, I think this is a 500 calorie lunch. It's got mashed potato and leek and a big chicken breast, so it's like 40 something grams.
And you're
protein.
pretty full after it.
Very full after it. They tend to do a pretty good job with the protein amount and like the fiber in the meals, so like it's good and it's quick. Like I said, You pull out a thing, you poke a hole in the top plastic, and you 3 minutes stir it up, like whatever is in there that can be stirred up, and then cook it for another 2 minutes, and then you've got your meal in front of you. So like, it is perfect for what happened today, where I did not eat lunch, and this happens frequently with lunch, less frequently with dinner. It'll be like 2 something, and I'm like, oh crap, did not eat lunch. So that's where this has been playing really well for me. But you pick. If you're doing the week, I do lunch and dinner. and it's 10 meals. It's expensive, so I think I decided to do the like, you get a certain amount of this that's discounted, and I was like, I'll commit to doing all the discounted ones, and then probably stop doing it and go back to like meal prepping and stuff like that. But it has been really good for this time of year. Winter is just bad for all of the brain stuff for me,
all of our mental health,
all of my mental health. So just having food that's ready to go that keeps me from ordering something that's terrible is kind of how that works for me. So anyways, definitely not sponsored, definitely not a factor influencer, even though I sound like one. But if you did
use my promo code, I'm not an influencer.
If you did want a free box, not a promo code, I'm not going to get any credit for that or anything. You just send me a DM or something on the Discord. And I do.
You heard it first.
I have 4 free boxes. It's an absolutely free box to try it, and you can cancel your account like immediately. But it's like 100% free box.
Wow! Look at us elevating. Look at us elevating our.
Yeah, if that's something you're interested in trying.
Sponsor.
Yeah.
The only thing I'd steer clear of, and probably won't be in the free boxes, are these ones that cost extra. These gourmet plus ones.
Oh, okay.
Unless you like slightly overcooked steak, because you've already cooked steak and you're throwing it in the microwave. So
exactly.
Keep that in mind.
Yeah. I've done
that's my thing. Yeah.
I've done the meal kits before, and my favorite thing is just like not having to think about grocery shopping, or really not having to think about what I'm going to cook that night. Just like pulling one out and being like, okay, we're having this.
Oh yeah. I did HelloFresh for a while.
Yeah.
I still every now and then get an accidental box of HelloFresh because I didn't like skip the week. Like I skip every week perpetually until like, I want that for this week. I know I need to.
Yeah, it's just, I think the thing with food delivery, it's always a balance. In terms of my sponsored, not sponsored, not
Erewhon. We already went through that. Well, I guess that counts for both of us.
Oh, hold on a second. Why is my all right, hold on. What am I trying to do? Without further ado, I want to share a very important resource. If you can pull up my screen. Yep.
You got it.
This week's sponsored, not sponsored, is Garden of Life Fiber. Y'all, I have been just so fascinated by the importance of fiber in our diets, you guys. I like as you get older, they're like, you need more fiber. This thing has literally changed my mind. Like, I remember my friend being like, what are you on? Like, you've had so much more like energy. Like, I feel like, like she just felt like my mood has been so much different. And I was like, well, I just like recently started taking fiber. And I was like, oh my gosh, has this been the life cheat code? So yeah, I just wanted to share the fiber love with y'all this fine afternoon. So sponsored, not sponsored, especially since I'm running on little to no sleep, by Garden of Life Fiber to just like keep our good gut flora. So thank you for joining.
Do you like make it in this conversation?
So yes, so I usually add it to a smoothie, because when you have it by itself, it's like it becomes this like muddy thing. Not a fan.
Do you use that, or like, because I put like things that are like fibrous, like what's the classic one?
Psyllium husk or something like that.
Yeah, I think that's it. Or no, I'm thinking I'm spacing out.
Chia?
I'll think of it.
Is it chia?
I put chia and then also flaxseed.
Yeah, it's so comprehensive. It has all types of things. But yeah, I was just like so fascinated. And then I'm clearly on a fiber kick. My other not sponsored are Local Nut, which is like they have very like hold on. Okay. They have like healthy food options based in New York. Parsnip fries. We're going with some parsnip fries. They're vegan. So yeah, we're just like on a food kick. But yeah, just like good gut flora. As Robertables mentioned, daylight savings is about to be here. So just spring. Welcome the early spring vibes. Get your gut flora right.
Nice.
So yeah,
I'm excited. For actually, I don't know if
daylight savings time is about to change my life. I will go out and say that much. This is when I become the superpower Brent.
Okay, unpopular opinion, but we'll get into this. No, I'm going to save that for after my sponsor, not sponsored. I got 3 potential ones for y'all, so I'm just going to go for it. First, I just got my new shipment of tea. This is my favorite green tea. Lushan Yunwu green tea.
Wait, Alex is talking about tea?
Yeah, who knew it?
I never would have guessed. What is this show?
So this is my favorite. I buy a lot of tea from Yunnan Sourcing. It's like a guy in China who like goes to the farms and has relationships and brings the stuff in. It's super, all the tea I get is super interesting. There's some other really cool tea shops if someone wants to dive in one day with me. But this is this is my favorite green tea. This is the one that I always get. I just love it. So that's 1. 2, over the weekend, I went to UCB, Upright Citizens Brigade in LA, and saw this show, Shamilton. These guys improvise a hip hop musical, and it is amazing. They're super talented. I think they tour a little bit. So like, I know somebody who like saw them in SF, but if you're in LA on a 4th Friday and you happen to be able to see this one, I highly, highly recommend it. It was incredible, like super funny. And these guys are so talented. Let's see. In my show, I had Zeke Nicholson. I had Ashley Ward, Ross Bryant, who's hilarious, Giovanni, John Hartman, and I think that was it. There's one other person, but I'm not sure who. But it was so, like, they're just amazing. So that was the last. And then next one, because I decided I'm going to do a book every time too. I just finished the final book in the first arc of the Stormlight Archive by Brandon Sanderson. It's a commitment, but these books are epically awesome. The first book is The Way of Kings. I just finished the 5th book, which is Wind and Truth. I don't know if anybody else is a Sanderson fan or has read any of the Stormlight Archive or maybe some Mistborn. These are some of my favorites. And unlike some other authors, this guy pumps out books. So I'm not worried about him not finishing this series because he writes a solid 1,000+ page book every year. Those were mine. I just talked a lot. So time for my unpopular opinion.
Oh, and it's going to be unpopular, but go ahead.
It's unpopular. I don't like daylight savings time.
Yep.
And
Alex is yep. This is a good show, Bianca. How we doing?
B squared.
Good.
B squared.
Yeah, B squared. It's the B squared show. Yeah, I mean,
wow.
I know he can bring himself back in, but like, why? Why even after having that opinion?
Drama. Right? There's some drama.
I'll bring Alex back, but I just don't like that opinion.
I know you don't like it, but I think the science agrees with me.
Oh, it does not. It depends on what science, because there's other science that disagrees with it.
There's probably science on both sides. I read some studies about, they looked at people right on the edge of a time zone, because it's basically like if you're right on the edge of a time zone, there's like be similar towns on either side of it, and they can look at productivity, and they find that people in the time zone where the sun rises at an earlier hour are more productive than people who the sun rises later.
But are they more happy? Did they study their happiness? Because here's the thing. You can be productive all day, but if by the time you're done working, it's dark outside, like most people are gonna have trouble.
Happiness,
Yeah, most people are gonna struggle.
I think happiness is important. No, I feel that too. Like, I'm excited to be able to walk my dog a little later in the day. But like, there's another side of it too, which is I don't like the time change, and it'd be easier because we wouldn't need an act of Congress to just go to normal time. We would need an act of Congress to switch to everyone on daylight time, on daylight savings.
Yeah, and I honestly think that that's the more likely switch for permanence than going to non-daylight.
Yeah, probably. People like it.
To me, like, it's not even a function of like, do I prefer or do I like the one better? My body literally behaves different when it's light later. Mostly, most of that can be attributed to the fact that I, have really bad sleep habits and really bad sleep timing, and I work late as it is, normally because I start late. So like, some of that's my fault, but a lot of it is like, no. Like, it cannot be dark by the time I'm done with whatever I was supposed to be productive doing, because now it's like, okay, Like there's no light for me to enjoy, and I'm not going to get out during the day because the day's just they're busy.
I have a question. What's a water softener?
Some places have hard water, which means there's a lot of like minerals in the water. Like for example, when I lived in Arizona, the water is
hard. Oh no, I know that. I was just like, but why is your water softener going to be back on the?
Yeah, I don't know why.
Time?
Oh, is it?
Do you not change your?
And you just don't bother changing it.
It probably has a schedule that it runs on. Yeah, probably. What's up, Corey? I see Corey.
Ooh,
Corey.
Hi,
Corey. How's it going?
Hello.
How you doing?
Yeah. Okay.
Who else has a daylight savings with an incorrectly programmed clock?
I was like, that sounds very Caribbean of you. Like, I feel like the Caribbean folks, they're just like, forget daylight saving. You're like, what time is on the microwave? And it'll just be like, we're not changing. Like, just vibes until
a broken clock is right twice a day.
Basically. So it's just like, I've always know when, the Caribbean, they're just whatever. I love it. But okay. So we talked about sponsored, not sponsored, but today I am very excited to do a little deep dive. Before we do a deep dive, well, actually, no, we're going to do a deep dive. Then we can do like our kind of A/B testing. Where are we now? Where do we want to go? All the things. So today I was just like, I want to pull back the curtain on a new show. And I don't know if you heard about this new show, but it's called Twilio Update. Alex, Brent, Polly are kind of huge folks that kind of brought that to life. So we're going to just kind of talk about it, right? Like just talk about like, what was that creative process? I have some questions for them. But yeah, that's kind of just like the vibe and things like that. If y'all have any questions or if you haven't even watched Twilio Update, wow, can't believe you.
Where have you been?
But literally. But yeah, if you have questions, definitely kind of throw them in chat as well, and we'll ask that. But can both of y'all introduce yourselves relative to Twilio Update? What did you do for it?
Alex, go first.
You want me to go first?
It's your show.
You
can tee me up for whatever role
so
I have
Twilio Update is a bi-weekly-ish show where we talk about news and what's new with Twilio. We've got we tap into the changelog and pull some stuff out of there. We do a deep dive. We feature a little bit of some of the interviews that Bianca and I get to do, and then talk about upcoming events. This kind of like I'm kind of the main, I don't know, I guess I do a lot. So I come up with the topics, I research the topics and work with a writer to get it written. And then I also star in it. I don't like that word, but I star in it. It's me. It's my face on camera with this lovely background. I can switch to the other background in a second for the show. But so it came there, and it kind of came about because Bianca and I both work on a bunch of different webinars. And a year ago, I was tapped to work on the quarterly releases webinar, which is put on by our product marketing teams. And they kind of talk about all the different stuff coming out. They kind of promote the releases. And I was like, this is so cool, but it's like so infrequent. They also miss, because of the way that we do it, it's only bigger releases. All the like small stuff that's still really interesting and exciting, they kind of gloss over. And sometimes they end up talking about stuff that's like, you wouldn't know about unless you were already using the product, right? Like there's a whole bunch of Flex releases, but unless you're using Flex, those don't necessarily make sense to you. So I wanted to create a space where we could dive a little deeper into some of the products, and also then go deeper into what's going on. So like the first one I did was on voice and AI. The one that we're working on right now that's coming out next week is on RCS. So those are kind of the topics, but yeah. And then, just researching and working with the whole production team on getting it written, getting it made, getting it edited. But it all was, it was inspired by that, but it was also inspired by a show that Brent used to do called The Changelog.
Hold on, Alex. We're jumping in.
I was trying to tee Brent up.
I know.
I did tell him to tee me up. did.
You can go. I was just more so like,
go ahead, Bianca. Bianca brought the vibes.
Questions.
Bianca brought the vibes
yeah.
for this section, so I'm gonna let Bianca ask the questions.
Yeah, I was just like, I wanted to get a sense of.
We didn't rehearse this interview though, so you need to scope the questions such that we know how far to answer.
Yeah, there you go.
You know what I mean? Like,
I think. See, y'all, we are live. Clearly, we're live. No, I'm asking the questions with the assumption that like we're gonna have more questions to go through, right? So like, I was just. I kicked off with, what's your role? What's your role with the show? And we can dive into kind of what was the process. You were supposed
to just say, I'm Alex. The show was my idea, and I'm the guy.
I'm the show guy.
And then Bianca was going to say, okay, so what's involved? Like, I got you, Bianca. Let's do this.
You see where I'm going? I'm taking the people on a journey. Wow, this clearly we've been working together on this show for a year because we're like,
Bianca, you told me to talk and I just started talking.
Yeah, Alex was like, hey, I can talk. That's what I do here.
I was like,
got another hour and 20 minutes on stream. I got this. Okay.
Yeah.
I literally was like, Alex, are we gonna have more? I was like, Alex, did you answer the whole interview? I'm like, I was just like, whoa there, bud. But anyways, okay, great. Hey, wow, y'all are all witnessing our in-person conversations. This is stream life. So Brent, welcome.
Yeah.
And kind of curious, what's your connection to Twilio update?
Yeah, okay. So Alex definitely did not mention that I previously did a show called Twilio Changelog. We'll just pretend that Alex never said that, but
forgets what you heard.
Yeah. I'll answer that part. I previously
look
did
deeply
a
into
show
my eyes and I'll mesmerize everybody and they'll forget.
Called Twilio Changelog. And Corey remembers. I had Corey. Corey was like in the later stage of this, so we worked with Poly Creative, who we're working on with this one. On that show, and one of the things that we did on this channel, I think it was /Twilio back then, it's /Twilio now, but I had Corey on and I had Nathaniel on for one, and I think I had Corey on for several, but we would go through the changelog and like I'd ask Corey, do you think this is something people would be interested in? And if it was, we would keep it in the show, and then I'd be like, is it something we need to demo? And if it was something we needed to demo, then we demoed it on Twitch. So we did a lot of work on that show live. It was fun. It was just anytime me and Corey could hang out on a stream together, it was always going to be pretty good vibes. But then we would take the clips from that and I'd put together a script, or I didn't put together a script because I don't script, but I did an outline, and we would, I would send the clips and the screencasts and my video over to Poly Creative, and then they would cut together the changelog back then. So that was the genesis of like the show idea. But for this one is like, Alex wanted to do a news show, and I was like, hey, I think we can do that. We've got precedent for having done this in the past, and yeah, Alex has got the Alex has the
wrong one.
Oh, is that the wrong one? Oh,
no, sorry. I got it. You're good. No, that was right screen. I was just on the
Alex has it pulled up. We got the whole playlist of them. I think the later ones definitely had some involvement from Corey, but this was fun, and we would come up with a show, and it came out once a month back then, I think. And I was like, Alex, let's do it. We've got a good team of folks to work with now, and let's try to do it. So that's my role now, is like the same sort of role that I play on these things that are like not my concept. Is I'm like the executive producer. I want to make sure that we're producing solid stuff, helping coordinate with Poly Creative in terms of visuals and just making sure that the idea is landing for our audience.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
No, I think, okay, so I love how you both like highlighted just like the inspo for the show. So I'm kind of curious, maybe for you, Alex, like how did you balance out like, yes, I have an established blueprint for this, but also kind of finding your groove? Like what were you thinking about? Like, I want to hold this versus I want to let it go. But yeah, I'm kind of curious how you found your creative voice with something that had already been created.
I realized, and Bianca, you can probably attest this too. I think that you and I in particular made a decision almost like probably close to a year ago, maybe more, about who our audience was. And specifically thinking about not just developers, but builders. And the company has, in the last couple months, actually shifted to that as a company. So like they're all following our lead clearly. But I think in that shift, it's a different type of conversation, right? I don't intend, maybe at some point, but it's going to be rare that I show code on update. And I know you didn't show a ton of code on changelog either, but I think like it's kind of a different vibe. And so I wanted to take that idea and expand on it a little bit, because I wanted to dive deeper and work on creating a story about like some of the tech behind like some of the stuff going on behind the tech, and kind of looking a little beyond just like what are the updates, but also like what's the interesting thing about the update. So there was kind of just a slightly different vision, but one of the segments of my show is the changelog, where I keep something very similar to what Brent was doing, I'm doing as well. But that's only a part of it. And I'm trying to kind of grow beyond that, because I want to talk to more diverse people, and I want to work with more people internal to Twilio to talk about what they do. Because I think that we have some awesome folks, especially like on the product teams and on the product marketing teams. And like helping them tell the story of the products they're working on is a lot of fun.
Gotcha. No, that's really good context. Brent, how does it feel to be an influencer?
To be an influencer? What? Oh, because I influenced the concept, or what? What? I'm like, what? I've
correct.
This is.
You could answer
this
that.
Is about TikTok for you, Brett.
Being an influencer is a new thing to me. I don't know.
Oh, whatever. All right. No, so the person with their face plastered all over the YouTubes, whatever.
I know. I was being sarcastic. Let me just take a sip real quick. I was just.
You need sarcastic eyes.
I need sarcastic eyes? I definitely have never been an influencer before.
Those are your sarcastic eyes?
No, those are my these are my influencer eyes.
Those are your influencer eyes.
Go get Factor. I'll give you my code in the free boxes.
For more.
My goodness, these are my influencer eyes. Goodness, no, I think maybe we could do happy, or we could do I don't know. I think these are influencer eyes. Yeah, I've been an influencer guy for a while. But like in terms of this one, I just think like I'm not sure how much of an influencer I was on this, because I think this concept is sort of evergreen, and like other companies have done it, and it's one of those things where it's like I think eventually someone was going to come around to doing a Twilio update style show again. I do think it has been nice to have had prior experience doing it and being able to be a producer from the mindset of like, okay, I know what kind of vibe this should probably have for certain aspects of it. And also just like having the background knowledge of like what's going to work, what's not going to work on YouTube in particular, I think will be helpful with honing the show over time. Like we have some tweaks to make. We definitely have some tweaks to make. But no, I think more than anything, rather than influencer, I'm more happy to be a fan like of this content type, and I'll bring out the hard eyes for that one. Yeah. So I'm more excited to be a fan of this kind of content, and like look forward to not only what Alex comes up with for the week, but like how spoilers, you can ask questions about this, but I'll tease like what the writer is going to come up with for jokes and segments, and like how is that going to like reflect, and like how does it's always fun when you've got a writer that's clever, but like do they make it Alex, right? Yeah. And I mean, if you watch the first episode, it's very Alex. Like I'm looking forward to that, and like I look forward to the edit and seeing how they make stuff come to life. Like it's more for me, it's more fun to like be able to source the budget, having been able to source the team, build up the relationship with the team, and then see Alex's ideas for what this update show could be get reflected out into the world. Like that's my favorite part.
Yeah, and I think that brings something up, which is like there's things about the show that I like care about and know about and can express. There's things about the show that I don't care about. Like Brent is so on top of like, let's make a good thumbnail. I'm like, I'm glad that you're doing that, because it's something that I would struggle to like think through. But then there was this whole bunch of stuff that I did have an opinion on, but I didn't know that I needed to have an opinion on, like some of the style, some of the graphics and the animation. And Brent was really helpful in helping take that first step of, hey, this is what we should start looking like, so that I could then base my opinion on something we already had, as opposed to like needing to know what I want some of the look and feels to be before I even made the first episode. So that was really helpful to have somebody who had done this before there to like think through what all look like.
Got it. Okay, so we kind of talked a little bit. Okay, so you started about like, how did you start, where you know, where this come from? So I can one of y'all pull up my screen for me? I have currently up our Twilio devs channel, and I think my next question is more so about like what is the vibe, right? Like if you think about like what are the elements that we should like look to expect? And I pulled up our page because I'm like, beyond's kind of branding, like. And Brent, you can probably talk about like, you know, there were some elements that were seen on all our past shows, but I'm just kind of curious about like, what's the vibe for Twilio Update, right? Like, what are some of the elements that you feel like come through or are alive? Are you a graphics person?
I don't think, like, to be honest, it's a little bit of a departure from the vibe of a lot of these other videos. Like even Brent's video was very green screened, his changelogs. So
totally,
like I have a green screen, but I'm choosing not to use it. I was kind of channeling, I mean, some of my favorite TV shows, like one of the few that I watch all the time is The Daily Show. And like, I love that format, and I love that they're like sitting behind a desk. And then there's a few YouTubers that do a really, really awesome job at that. What's the one? Is his name Justin? What am I thinking of, Brent? The guy in Portland.
Jason Langsdorf?
Jason Langsdorf. Like his studio and setup, you like see his desk, and I just like, so like you'll notice in the shot, like if you like, I can pull it up really quick, but like in the let me pull up a shot of this. So like in the shot, like you can see my desk on the bottom there, right?
Alex loves his 2x speed joke.
Yeah, that was, I didn't mean to pull that up. Joke up,
you pulled it up. You pulled it up right to the 2x speed, right to a 2x speed joke.
But like, I wanted it to be kind of like a little bit more intimate. I didn't want it to look like another Talking Head Zoom box. I wanted it to look like I was in my office and inviting people into my office to talk about these things. So the vibe I was going for was actually influenced by some other external people where I'm just like, I just love how they're doing this. I got the lights set up for this, and you know, it did the whole thing where like each section has different color lights. Like changelog is red.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Like deeper dive is blue. So like I was, you know, changing the lights throughout. So like there was just some things that I wanted to pull out, and also I was influenced by the liftoff content that we had just made. Right, a lot of the elements are there. We have a desk we're talking behind. I really liked that. It felt a little more intimate, kind of just like having that input as opposed to like this thing we're used to seeing all the time. And they also did lights, different background lights for each video that we made. So,
did you consider at all making yourself a robot? No, just me. Okay, cool.
I want that. I want that, Brent. I'm just not there yet. I haven't. You have to be on YouTube for 3 years before they let you
become a robot. Fair.
They don't even.
Normally it's 5. Luckily, I have the masters in robotics, and so I cut down to 3.
Yeah, I guess that's fair.
I'm also before I hop into a question for you, Brent. Chat. I'm kind of curious. When did you find our YouTube? Like when? Like were
YouTube
you a star?
Everyone. That is true.
You know,
I was just being silly.
I'm curious, like when people discovered some of our like video content. So feel free to add that to the chat. Brent.
Oh yeah, I'd be super curious, like how long some folks have been around the Twitch as well. Like when did you find us?
Oh yeah.
How long you been?
When did you
And I could be creepy and I can kind of see when people followed, but like, self-identify. Jandra's been around
following you for years.
For me for years, yep. And folks have found this place through me over the years as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, we found streaming and, to be honest, video. Like, I think before, because we were on like different teams for a while, I had kind of started to like dabble with one video before you were joining the team. But as soon as you joined the team, it just like, we're just like, oh, this is fun, let's do more. And there's a few different tutorial videos with us. We all just did that, the liftoff stuff. So yeah, Brent, you influenced us to be here with our faces in this little box.
Oh heck
yeah.
Just
let's
like
see,
that. We have
RJ said it was Signal TV 2020.
Signal TV. Interesting topic there, that one. Maybe we'll come back to that.
As Corey says, Signal TV. Or is that Signal TV? Which one?
Signal TV.
There we go.
It's something.
Yeah,
is it all those overlapped?
It's something.
All in the same.
It's definitely something.
All in the same place. No, yeah. It's interesting. I think it's interesting, Alex, even you being like, it's feeling more like you wanted it to feel more conversational, more like, hey, we're talking, rather than like, hey, I have this content. I'm kind of curious, Brent, given like what you'd seen in terms of our content progression, like, why do you feel like now is the time for this kind of content and this kind of style?
Interesting. Okay. Oh wait, that's a good question, Bianca. I'll look at Bianca. See, Alex wasn't talking to me right now. I'm gonna look at Bianca. Bianca asked me a question. From a content perspective, from a content evolution perspective, yes, it was the best of times, worst of times. From a content evolution perspective, I think we've been in this kind of like, we found our way for a while, and like we've made a lot of interesting like tutorial content. I've made a ton of tutorial content over the years, and we just came off of making Liftoff, which is kind of like a real big effort that was like, hey, this is what highly produced content could look like. Like, we could go bigger than that, but like, this is what, high production value, get a camera crew, get, real good editors, get a whole bunch of graphics made. This is what a higher expression of the getting started content, like the tutorial content. And I see a path where like tutorials are great, but you don't watch a tutorial and then go, you know what, I'm gonna come back for the next tutorial. Like, rarely. Some people will. Some people will like, oh, you know what, that was an awesome WhatsApp tutorial. I can't wait for the next WhatsApp tutorial. And I see those people. They subscribe on YouTube. Like, when they watch a tutorial and subscribe, that's content that resonated. That's content that was like, someone was looking for WhatsApp content and we delivered WhatsApp content. And you'd think in a perfect world, Brent would go, oh, you know what? We need more WhatsApp content because, and we do. Let me just be clear. We do need more WhatsApp content. But I've been in this mode. I've been in this mode of trying to solve for short form, because I think short form has the potential to cause like massive growth on a channel right now. And it's also a very good avenue for content out of a show like this, where there's three of us talking. We're probably going to say something that's interesting to our audience multiple times per show, but like, getting somebody to watch a 2-hour recording of a stream later is unlikely. But getting those like couple minute blips into something that people can watch as they're like on their phone, on their couch, that's a cool thing. What people come back for is series content. Now, series is tricky because I've seen some folks that are talking about exploring series. The problem with series is there's an inherent struggle as a viewer when I come into a series and I get recommended by YouTube like number 5 of a series. Do I need to watch 1 through 4? or can I jump in at 5 and will I be okay? And that conflict will always exist with a series, unless it's very clear from watching in the first like minute or so that this is sort of a series, right? I'm doing quotes. My bot can't do air quotes. But like, this is sort of a series. Yes, Alex can do it for you. If you both do it, you're surrounding me with quotes. There you go. That's good. It's sort of a series. Like, these things are all related. Like, what works better on YouTube is like when content is related. When I watch a thing that's like a thing you did before. This is why people like Mr. Beast are so successful, because he does a whole bunch of different kinds of challenges, and he does a whole bunch of things that are like the last person to take their hand off of this object wins that object. Like, they're all, it's what we call content buckets, right? As opposed to being a series where this is last to leave number 4, right? Well, okay, you could watch last to leave number 4 without watching 1, 2, and 3, but if you call it number 4, there's an implicit I need to go watch 1, 2, 3. So what I'm saying is, it's like, content that is recurring and related will bring somebody back. And that's where this type of thing, where Twilio update, like, I didn't give it an episode number, but like, there will be another Twilio update in 2 weeks. And then there will be another Twilio update in 2 more weeks. And people that are along for the ride, that watch Twilio update week after week, hopefully, my hope, and the way YouTube works, generally speaking, is like, people that watched and liked Twilio update this past time will get recommended Twilio update when the next one comes out. And people like them. People like that person, similar to that person, will get recommended Twilio update. What we want to do is create recurring viewership. Man, my outside is loud. Exactly. We want to create return viewers that come back and watch the same kind of thing. And what I want to see is, like, you know, that subset grows, and then ultimately those people become recommenders. And this is the type of content that gets people talking. Hey, did you see the Twilio update? Hey, did you see this part of the Twilio update? Hey, you should go watch Twilio update. And like, that's where you grow viewership for this type of content. And I think we just don't have that kind of content right now.
I think it also just invites, like, even the evolving style of how people are consuming things. I think TV in the past, like, really defined how we took content, versus now it's like interest. We're more interest based with our content. We're more like, or even curation. What were you gonna say, Alex? I feel like did you have a thought?
Alex is mute.
I am muted. Sorry. Mute. It's the medium is the message.
So I definitely think we're seeing like shifts there. One thing that actually popped up, this is just like a side comment. You know, even the aspect of just like where you were 4 years ago or 5 years ago, like, is not where you are today. So I think even this aspect of like the developer isn't just troubleshooting, like maybe they're in a different role. Chat, curious, are you in the same role that you were in like a few years ago? Are you like, how do you feel like your responsibilities have changed in some ways? But yeah, I think like even that aspect of just like the focus and the problems you're solving look different. So you need a different set of content, you know, like to kind of support you.
And I think how that, like, the whole point of medium is the message is like the way that you deliver the content, like whatever that medium is, changes things. Like a great example is Sesame Street. Some people say that like Sesame Street was amazing because it got kids excited about learning again. The other way to look at that is TV is entertainment. And so now, because it was TV, the only way to do education with TV is to make it entertaining. And so now education has to be entertaining. And I think that is still shifting with YouTube, where things are actually getting shorter and shorter because of attention spans. So like, yeah, I mean, look, our first one was 17 minutes. Our next one's going to be 14. I want to get these shorter because I think there's a limit to how much people want to pay attention. But like, also, what can we pull off that's really interesting from that to get people excited in only like, 90 seconds?
Yeah, and I like that Alex is like, I want to get it shorter from this particular reason, and I'm over here like, no, man, it's about the watch percentage. Like, we need to get people further through the video. And you know, there's benefits on all sides.
It also is like even the devices that we're using, like for Twilio update, I was listening to it while I was like driving and stuff. But like even I wasn't driving and watching, but essentially, you know, it wasn't on my computer. So even the fact that like I was taking it in from a phone, a device, rather than sitting in front of a computer and being like, let me take my notes. You know, so I don't know. I think there's this aspect too of just like we're consuming these things in so many different ways. And it's meeting us in different places. But lots of
people who are doing this really well. Like for like one of my big inspirations was the AI Daily Brief, NLW. I think he does a great job of just like giving you a really quick, you know, like anywhere from like 5 to 20 minutes of like what's going on. He's got a bunch of little updates and a story, and he does this every day, which is wild. Like me doing this every 2 weeks, I'm like, how do you do this every day? That's impossible. And then the like absolute masterclass in this is Fireship, right?
I was just gonna say Fireship for sure.
Like everything that Fireship makes, it's super edgy and funny. And like I don't like some like the other ones, I'll like listen to, I don't need to watch, I can watch on my phone. If I'm doing a Fireship video, no, I will sit down and I am watching it intently on my phone because it is the way that he puts stuff together is so entertaining. And, you know, he's opinionated yet informative. And I just like he's the absolute kind of master of this style of content, in my opinion.
It is.
Yeah.
It looks, I remember you said something, Alex, you were like, it looks like it's, you know, low effort or whatever. And I'm like, this is the highest effort, like to make something look this like low effort, because it's very memey and like, you know, very simplistic images popping and like every now and then a scroll and that kind of thing. But like, it's very meme forward. It's very like, let me throw an animated GIF
just like,
meme in
this.
there.
It's like very,
just throw a screenshot in there. But like, it's so while the imagery itself is somewhat simplistic, the timing is where the hard work is, because this is like I'm going to tell you a story in 5 minutes or 6 minutes, but every single second of that experience is planned out, and it's going to hit you a new image, an emphasis, an emphasis.
It's also very TikTok, like
editing. It's retention editing.
It's so but it's become such a trend, like even on TikTok, like, you know, TikTok does like the long form, so you have folks while they're telling you a story, like they'll use a lot of those editing, you know, like those editing components. But I do think like, I don't know, I am concerned about like the TikTokification of everything, of just like people feeling like that's the only way that people consume content or stories.
You even see it in some of this stuff where there's like, with like stitching, which is a really cool idea, right? Where you like sample someone else's thing and then you finish it. But now you can't just stitch. You have to put stitch up incoming or stitch upcoming. Like you have to tell people there's a stitch because otherwise people are going to see it and just scroll away.
Yeah.
Interesting. So, but so I'm going on a little tangent here, but then it reminds me of even back to that concept of context. Like how much context, when do you throw in context? What are we assuming, right, about the audience? But even just like that problem in some ways of just like context. You always have to introduce, I don't know, context just came to mind. But,
yeah. And like Brent was saying, like we're like looking at our retention throughout the video, and like I don't know if we did it in time for the second episode, but for the third episode, we're going to shift how I do intros to try to bring people in more, right? There's all these things that you could do to try to get, but like all the metrics are there. Like that's what this is all coming from. It's, you know, you're trying to drive some metrics, and maybe they're arbitrary, but they're kind of there.
Yeah, it dawns on me that there's a aspect of this that we haven't talked about as well, which is sort of the release plan for this, like how the 2 weeks work. So I'm not talking about the behind the scenes of how it gets built, but how we put it out into the world, because there's a specific strategy there that we're doing that's kind of interesting. Bianca, did you want to ask a question about that, or am I jumping ahead?
I was going to talk about like kind of how I was going to talk more about like some of the logistics, but we can dive into just like why, like how did you choose certain decisions? I was also going to ask you about just like just kind of working with different stakeholders as well.
Yeah.
That's going to be my next
let's talk about
but
let's structure. Let's do it like because we work off of a work back schedule. Let's work back from how it gets released. So every 2 weeks, it's getting released on the /Twilio, the Twilio YouTube channel, because we're casting a broader net with this, right? This is, and sorry if I'm stepping on your toes, Alex. I'm taking
for it.
The executive, the EP role right now, talking about the overarching plan. But like we're shipping this out on the Twilio channel. It has a bigger subscriber base, which means absolutely nothing in terms of actual distribution, but we do have a developer and builder forward audience there. Like over half of the 80 something thousand subscribers on that channel came in through developer content, like much more than half. So we know that the audience is there on that channel potentially, and that YouTube may know that audience is there. So that's one aspect of it. We wanted to also, though, because it's a segmented show, and as I've talked about streams in the past, that if you can have segments, you can ship segments, right? So having a structured update show where you've got the changelog and the runtime and the preview, and like you've got all these different aspects of the show. Some of them can be very standalone week over week. So changelog and runtime, absolutely week over week. I don't see how those would ever not be able to be cut, and we've shipped those. We cut those out and we ship those to the Twilio devs channel as individual segments. So what we get there is like over the course of the 2 weeks, we ship to the Twilio channel the full episode. This week it's 17 minutes. Next time it'll be 14, whatever. And then in between, on a spaced out cadence, we're shipping more of that content to our other audience that's dev focused, and trying to carve out the pieces that would probably perform best there. Alex, go ahead and pull your screen up on that part right there. That's good. Just to kind of show this is like how it's targeting the devs audience. That one, and then the 1-2 over the changelog are the two that we've shipped so far from that. And what we get there also is like a second attempt at like doing tailored thumbnails. Maybe the thumbnail for the main episode doesn't land, but maybe something about the runtime will hit. It doesn't look like it has, but maybe it will. Like maybe over the long haul.
It's been out 5 hours.
This could be long tail.
Yeah.
This could be long tail too.
Yeah.
Like it looks like the changelog has a little bit of long tail because it's got WhatsApp in it, and like that's another thing where like I know the audience is like, oh hey, look, WhatsApp content. So this is one of those things where like breaking it out, we've got a second chance for some of this content, and then where applicable, we get a third, maybe fourth chance. If we have segments that are shorter than 3 minutes, we can make them vertical and send them out on YouTube Shorts. Yeah. So like it's all about repurposing that content as much as possible, because it's not cheap. It's like, it's like $4,000 an episode. Yeah. Roughly speaking.
It's a trend. One thing that comes out of that is just like, it's one of my pet peeves of being in corporate America. Sometimes I feel like I have to repeat myself a lot. And what I'm hearing also, like, I really don't like having to say something 15 million times. It is just not my fave. But I'm realizing like,
can you, I didn't catch that. Could you try again?
I almost forgot. See, we've gotten too comfortable. I almost forgot I was on a corporate stream. I was about to use certain words that may have needed to be redacted from said session. Anywho,
she got like this. She got like this for a second.
But I think even this concept of just like repeating, like whether it's repeating it like, no, here's the message. I want you to get it here. I want you to get it over here. And in some ways, people kind of do that, right? Like on social. Like I've noticed the brands that do this well, they'll be like, here's a message in one format, here's a show here, here's a commercial, here's this person talking about this again. But it's like, yeah.
I also think that there's a little bit of like, because I've noticed myself doing this too. I don't think that's about repeating it for the same person. I think that's we have such a fragmented like attention ecosystem that it's about getting it to, no matter how you get, like, do you get your content through video? Do you get it through reading blog posts? Do you get it through reading tweets? Do you get it by going to physical events? There's so many different ways to get media and to get information that I think that is actually a little bit more of it. And it's a weird thing for me too. And Bianca, you probably feel this where like I get bored of some of the content I'm writing, but then I'm thinking about it again. I'm like, oh no, if I go to this medium, like there's a few talks that we've given 2 or 3 times for like something related to a Twilio Builder Labs that I'm going to try to give at Signal because I think it's going to be interesting for a Signal audience to hear it who probably hasn't been to one of our webinars. So I think a lot of it's just, yeah.
No, continue. Sorry.
No, I mean, that was it. So it's like, it gets boring for you, but like every time I do it, it's I do a better job of explaining the thing. But yeah, it's just like, you know, where meet people where they are, right? We talk about that all the time with like omni-channel communications. Like, where are you in that moment? Like, meet somebody where they are. And I think that's how it is with a lot of this content stuff too. But it's like weird when you like feel like you're just saying the same thing over and over again.
Ooh, no, that's real. That is real. Yep.
I like that, Alex. As the person, you know, that runs a couple of these things too, I'm perpetually like cognizant of the fact that like where someone found us and how they found us in these algorithmic experiences, you know, I'll say that again, algorithmic experiences, but like all these things are driven by algorithms. And if somebody found you in a particular place through a particular path associated with a particular topic, like they're likely to find you there again if you end up providing content that's in that space. So like you're missing anybody that's on our devs channel that like has self-identified as like a WhatsApp person. If you make content in Twilio Update that's about WhatsApp and then don't ship it over to devs, like you're just hoping they'll find it. But the fun part is like I'm intentional about linking these things up. So if they watch the changelog and they get to the end of it and they're like, I really liked that, I'd love to see what was in the rest of the episode, the end screen has it nice and big that you can click on and go watch it. I need to go back and add pinned comments, but like you could go down to the pinned comment and go over to it. It's in the description. The blog post is in the description. So like you hope that somebody that sees it somewhere else becomes a, you know, person that finds it in the other place. Yeah, you got it right here. Right there. And that's the intent in this one. I'm linking over to this one's actually linking over to the other segment on here, but I'm pretty sure the other one goes off channel. I think they should both go to the full episode, but that's, you know, it is what it is.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
Episode.
I think
I love it's like Alex recommendation.
How many me's can we get on screen at once?
How many Alexes?
You talked about doing different intros. I think a different outro for those segments would be good too. That says, "Hey, if you want to go catch the full episode, it's right here on screen."
Yes, I think that's right. And just getting in the groove of that, of like outros, intros, like how it all flows together is something. Because I'm also like, there's different places where it really nicely flows from one section to the other. But if you have this flow, when somebody starts the next section, are they losing context? Like there's a lot of things that I'm thinking about as I'm thinking about how not only I'm making the full episode, but how I'm going to chop it up along the way.
No, I like that. Okay. So my next set of questions for y'all is around collaboration. So y'all did have some history working together on some projects, but I'm kind of curious, what have y'all both learned about each other as you've embarked on this project? Be honest, but also this will stay on the YouTubes forever. But I'm kind of curious, just like, what has that collaboration process been like, and what have you learned about each other through this process?
I got this first. I'll go first because, yeah. Brent has a really lovely understanding of like what is needed to make good content, like video content. And I wouldn't be able to do this without him, even with a producer. I think maybe now, no, I still don't think I could. Like, it just wouldn't be as good because Brent has an opinion that I haven't done enough. I mean, look, we've been making videos for a year or two. Like, I don't have enough of an opinion yet. So I really appreciate that. And then I think the thing that is even harder for me, because I just don't always care about, is like the aesthetics of it and the brand side. And Brent understands what it should look like, not just from like a good video content, but also from like the Twilio side of things. Having been at Twilio for 11 years, he knows like where we can push things, where we should pull back, where we can be, and so I really appreciate that lens of just like doing, because like it's context I don't have, and I probably would be getting myself into trouble if I didn't have that context.
Brent, what have you learned about Alex?
Yeah, man, Alex said such nice things. I don't know. It's like,
do you want me to say meaner things? I can do that too.
Well, I mean,
we can say it.
I mean, you said such nice things, and I was gonna start off with Alex is such a, and now I can't say that. Now I can't say that.
That was the next section, right?
Smart dude. I mean, that's a weird thing
You
to bleep out.
You don't know what I said. I could have said really lovely things behind that. You have no idea. anyways, no, I was just kidding. That's a joke. Alex is meticulous. Like I love that, like, Alex has an opinion on what the content side is going to be like, and when I say like meticulous, I mean like Alex is trying his level best to collaborate with teams within Twilio to like source some of this. Like, hey, it's not like when I did changelog, it was like, let me just go out to the changelog and find out what's new at Twilio. And Alex is like, no, there are product people at Twilio that are going to know what's coming up on their stuff. I want them to be involved in this process. I want them to bring content to me so that I'm showcasing their work in the best way possible, as opposed to Alex going, I know what's best, I'm going to put that on the show. And it's like, no, just like, we've got people that know what's coming and what's good. Like, and Alex is very, very, very driven to go do that.
Yeah. That comes from laziness. It's easier for me to go talk to somebody else instead of like trying to research everything myself and figure it all out myself.
It's honest.
And it's like finding the right people. But I really appreciate that, because I do care a lot about the content. And I think like what I realize is like my superpower isn't necessarily knowing everything, but it's like telling the story. And that's the part I love about it. So it's like, how do I take the stuff that somebody else knows and tell the story about that?
Yeah, that's
it's interesting. One of my thoughts was just going to be around like what makes for a good collaboration, but you kind of answer that in some ways of even this, like, how do you play to each other's strengths? How do you allow everyone to kind of do their thing in the best way? Were there moments that you guys also almost fought each other? Did y'all have any creative tiffs? It's not always rosy and peachy.
Not the only creative tips are, so the hard part that we're dealing with right now is that we're in the midst within Twilio of a new brand rollout. So things are changing, and balancing what we want to do with new brand versus what we want to do with old brand, like that has been a bit of a challenge. And but it wasn't like, I think the only challenge stems from Brent's history working with brand and the brand teams and making you, Brent, a little more risk adverse than I am. Whereas like I'm willing to get in trouble a little bit because I've never gotten in trouble with them before. Versus you're like, it's not worth it because then we have a lot of trouble doing the things we want to do. So like maybe that was one spot where it was there, but like that was because there was another team at Twilio being slow to roll stuff out. There hasn't been a moment where we've disagreed on something that like was one of our own opinions. Like I haven't said, hey, I want to do this thing, and Brent's like, no, don't do that. Or like it's been very much a collaboration where like I say I want to do something, he's like, hey, what about this? Like, I think we're both good at like helping each other think through the things as we try to come up with the creative process. So yeah.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah,
Brent came up with the name too. Shout out there.
Yeah,
that's true. That's true. Well, and more in particular, like the formatting of it, the little bash in joke that we have of it being like, it looks like a CLI. You know, it looks like a CLI.
It is a CLI command. You can run Twilio update and something happens.
For sure. So like, I mean, it hopefully reads that way to, you know, to a developer that's coming through. I would say the biggest challenge with that brand thing is like, and I think this is where, like I've been at Twilio for a bit. So I've been through now multiple expressions of the brand, like the Twilio brand, and multiple configurations of the brand team and the brand leadership. And it's, they, you know, like we can look at it and go, you know, and this is a corporate stream, so I'm gonna keep it real. But like this is very important to them, like how the brand is expressed, how things look, how they feel, what our messaging is, like all of that is very important to them, maybe more than we would give it credit if we were just taking it at face value. And I think that's a very important thing to keep in mind as we move through. And it's tricky for us because we just had this code confetti and Twilio devs, like all this brand work that I took part in helping build, and we're kind of moving away from it. So it ends up, it's painful for me to look at some of that stuff going away, but also to see the stuff that's coming down the pike and understanding and having talked with some of the brand team to know like, oh no, like there are certain aspects of this that like, if you look at it and try to apply it yourself, you're not going to get it quite right. And that's not like a crime. You're not going to go to jail for it or anything, but it does erode some of the trust that you might have for being able to make your own stuff. And I think there's an agility issue if you lose that trust where like, oh, now I'm afraid I can't create my own graphics because I created a brand tragedy and like somebody got mad about that. So like now everything I do needs to be done by the brand team, and it takes extra time versus like,
so they can create some friction.
Yeah, if we're careful about it, we get a little more leeway to do our own thing.
Yeah. And there are certain things that we've done. Like, I think I can share this. Why not? This is just like a corporate template. Like that vibe that you're seeing in this image is like kind of similar to the vibe I have going on for the show, right? Darker. It's a little bit darker background with lights, me at my desk. Like we're trying to take some of the aesthetics, like our colors match the new brand. So there's things that we're doing that are the new brand, but we haven't gone like full into, you know, all the different like shapes that the brand likes to use and things like that. So like this is where we're kind of going a little slower in how we roll this stuff out.
And that's to protect, I like that. You know, just real quick, that's just to protect our agency in particular. That's less about us and more about, we are working with an outside agency that, you know, early on in the process, they were like, we will have a path. We will be able to onboard and teach agencies how to use this. And we just weren't there by the time we were starting this show. So you have to pace yourself a little bit to not, you know, I don't want them to use those shapes in a way that's not correct. Yeah. And then all of a sudden brand comes to me and says, well, you can't have them make anything. We need to make it, and it needs to be vetted through us. And that just slows everything down. We're on a 2-week cadence. Like, you know, it's impossible. Can't be slowed down.
I also think even just like balancing out like what's truly a priority. And I think over time figuring out like, okay, we have so many goals, can't be perfect. But we just want to maintain momentum. As we start our initial descent, I have just kind of 2 little buckets of questions. I'm kind of curious, like, what has the response been, right? Like, what are people saying about Twilio update? Like, and what comment have you loved the most about, you know, feedback?
Yeah. The thing that's excited me the most is the internal excitement about this project. I think that when I first mentioned it, people were like, yeah, that sounds interesting, but whatever. But as soon as I launched it and there was like an episode for people to go watch, like I had people being like, I want to put this on this page. Hey, can we get this put in there? And I want more of that. And I want to build that. And it really culminated to me. And I made a post on LinkedIn, and then the CPO of the company, Imbol, reposted my post sharing about the show. So like, this is clearly getting the right internal attention that I'm really excited about. Like, I think that that's what's going to make this easier for me eventually, is if I'm literally just having people come to me being like, hey, I want to do this on the show, things like that. So like, that's been really exciting. And then also finding the way to work with the PMM team, who I really enjoy, about kind of the smaller updates, has been a lot of fun. There was one, Brent, you showed me some weird comment, but I think it might have been for this. Was it for this show or was it for the other thing?
Which one
was that? I don't. You showed me a comment that was like that. Wait, what was it? Someone said? I don't remember what it was for, but it was like the bearded man speaks animatedly, indicating engagement. Or was that AI?
That was an AI tool. That was Opus Clip. I was
the bearded man.
Yeah, talking about reuse and that sort of stuff. I was trying to. I threw the link shortening video that we just shipped through an AI editing tool, and it had like it came out with like an almost 2-minute clip of it that I'm going to run on YouTube Shorts, but each section was labeled with why it thought that was a good part to include, which is a really nice tweak that I think they've added, where it's like, you know, this is why this part was good and why I'm throwing it in here. And it was like, bearded man speaks excitedly, indicating engagement or something like that. And it's like, I mean, you're not wrong. He's engaged with this. Yeah, I think it's yeah. That's a good reason to include it, I suppose. The bearded man is here.
Good. Too good. Brent, any feedback that you've like really enjoyed seeing that has been shared about the show, where early audience excitement that, you know, that has.
Yeah, I'm with Alex. I think it's the internal response. Like, I was a very strong advocate for Alex, like basically putting this out everywhere on our internal Slack and that sort of thing, to get that early groundswell. Like
groundswell.
The groundswell. It's wabbit season.
Wow.
It's wabbit.
Wow.
Wanting wabbits.
Wow.
Wascally wabbit. To get that groundswell, to get that early viewership, it was very important to like make sure that our internal folks saw it, because they're likely to be like very excited about a new thing that, you know, production value is good. I think we need to work on thumbnails, but like the production value is good there. And like, I think when people watch it and they see, you know, oh, this is actually highly produced, well written. I think my favorite thing that I saw was the number of people that referred to the 2x speed joke that I referred to earlier. Like, both internal, like there were several people internal that mentioned it, and we had a discussion about how you can go to 3 and 4 and like infinite X, like with a Chrome extension and that kind of thing internally. And then externally, I had tweeted about it, and Craig responded and replied and said that Craig had been caught off guard by the 2x speed joke. So like the jokes, like that's my favorite part. So we're paying for those jokes.
Yeah,
you know, we're paying clever people to help us with the script to put good jokes in there. And to have multiple people comment on one of those jokes tells me that money is worth spending. And it's not like, again, it's not cheap to put one of these together. So if you're going to pay for somebody to write jokes, I hope they're good jokes. And when you have multiple people say, like, they laughed at that, like they call out a specific joke, that is an anecdote to me that we keep paying that person to write those jokes.
It's also, it's so much fun to work with comedy writers. I'm gonna be honest. Like,
yeah,
we work with these guys. Hello, SciComm. They're just really fun, clever, and they're, you know, they've been partners. They've got like ideas for other segments we can add to the show, and yeah, it adds a level of professionalism and like clarity to the communication. Like, I can tell a story pretty well, but like having somebody whose job is to write for this stuff, it gives it that extra little, you know, 20% that I couldn't do myself. And I really do appreciate them.
Love it. Love it. We were talking about some budget stuff. This might be my last question for y'all. If y'all had unlimited budget, what would y'all create with this show specifically? With Twilio Update?
I would have a team of people putting the content together for me and a studio in Denver to film it at.
Okay.
Yeah, and travel budget to get like, people out there to it.
Yeah.
I feel the same way. That's kind of what I was going to get at. It's like a fixed location to film this from with a virtual set. Like I'm big advocate for like, I think, we've been talking internally about what studios could look like, but in 2025, I mean, heck, this has been a thing since, pre whenever Mandalorian was filmed is about when this stuff was starting to pop off. But like
why is that though?
It's one of the first big major things that used virtual, like the concept of a volume, where you've got like, instead of like traditional set building, you'd have like you'd have to build stuff and you'd have to go to different locations to get certain shots. The way this was filmed is we did a keynote at Twilio with something similar to this, but like you're in a big virtual production environment, gigantic virtual
giant set. LEDs.
So what happens is the screen projects the where you are basically, and your camera has sensors so that as you're moving, it's done in like Unreal Engine, so it's like VR type tooling.
Yeah.
Or video game type tooling. So as your camera moves around the space, the backdrop, that massive screen that they're filming on moves. So it's as if that camera is capturing the lighting and the angle in that space. Yeah, blow that up. But the camera is capturing a specific angle that is synced to the direction and like the notion in space. Like it's kind of hard to describe, but like every camera has a sensor on it such that as you're taking that shot, so they make the ground look like the ground would look like, right? So you do still have to do some practical elements. You put some rocks in there and that kind of thing, but everything else like is all virtual, but it looks so real.
Yeah,
because the resolution is super high and the camera is capturing it from the correct angle. Like you've got the correct view of that shot, and as you move the camera in the space, the background moves as if you are moving, right? Like your angle at a real space is moving. This stuff is super cool, and it can be done, on a much lower budget than this. I'll show you guys some fun stuff that I was watching recently. That somebody did this with a big TV, like a 105-inch TV. It's possible to do this on much lower budget now, but having those kind of virtual backgrounds can really take you to a particular place. Imagine like you wanted to do this Twilio update from like San Francisco, or maybe like Signal Sao Paulo or something like that's going on, and you wanted to do the show from Sao Paulo. Well, you don't have to fly to Sao Paulo, right? We could get a plate. They call them plates. We could get a plate for like a location in Sao Paulo. We could have someone shoot it, and then you could be there, right? And it's doable. Like this technology is very accessible now.
So how is this different? So this is different than a green screen because you're actually have the thing in the background while you're filming, right? Versus a green screen, you're putting it in later.
No, it's so with a green screen. Yeah, green screen, you're putting it in later. This is live. Right. This is like a live set kind of thing where if you looked back, you feel like you're there. I would see
the graphics behind
you. Feel like you're there, but the camera really feels like it's there. Like you would see that live projection of that space. Yeah, very interesting. But yeah, through the camera, it's indistinguishable. It looks like you're actually in a different environment.
Yeah. There's so much production stuff, and I'm gonna be honest, like my biggest takeaway from this is how challenging it is to do good video content. It is it seems like the kind of thing like just get on camera and do it. And like for stream, that's great. Although we're not thinking about all the energy Brent puts into like producing the stream and making it look good from the get-go. But like with this video content, it is so hard. Like we would be so much better off if we had 3 people working on content instead of just me and like a whole, like we already have a team of people doing the editing and production, but like we could probably use more graphic design stuff and more budget for that. But like I have so much more respect for the video as a creative medium.
That reminded me of that. Your question, Bianca, reminded me of like that one meeting that we were in, Alex. And you're like, what do people that do news shows like? How does that work? And and my comment was like, the number of people that were in this meeting, and I think there were 5 of us, maybe 5 total. I was like, the number of people in this meeting is not enough for the writing team. No. Right. Like we're not even close to the number of writers that would be involved. And that's like, I think we could stand to have multiple, a whole team of writers on this, like a whole team of graphic people and, a fleet of editors, because they could be working on the different segments and then knowing that it's going to come together as a full show. So like I would spend the money on a bigger team before anything else, because virtual set's great. But getting the show into the right place getting the show into a really, really good place down the road is like more people involved, and that's more money. So like that's where I would spend it on, is just people.
Yeah. No, I really like that. I mean, going back into that production aspect, I think video is in an interesting space. In this era, you're having to communicate to all types of people on different mediums. Attention is shifting. People are evolving, right? But it's also an exciting time to kind of re-envision kind of what content can look like, what video communication looks like. No pun intended. But yeah, I think it's an exciting time for video. It's an exciting time for production. But I even think like this as a tool in business, like video as a tool in business, is just like such a powerful medium. So I think being in the behind the scenes of like seeing how so many things come together to make one video, right? Like a short video, you just don't realize like so much that goes into that, like the strategy, the just the awareness, the making it look easy. So it's just been interesting, whether it was through stream, whether it was through like some of the other produced content, like seeing what goes into video. So that's been an interesting journey.
Yeah. I mean, had you been on a film set like that before we did Liftoff?
Not as talent.
Right.
Not as talent.
Like, but it's
that is
we are.
Bianca's a star.
Bianca's a star.
Yeah.
It's wild. It's like, it's crazy to see it. And it was so much fun to have that experience with the lights and the cameras and the sound guy and the teleprompters and it's fun and it's weird. And, like, I'm glad we get to do it. I regularly am like this YouTube, the Twilio update in particular is a very big moment of like, how is this my job? Right? Like, in some, like 6 months ago or so, maybe not even that much, 4 or 5 months ago, I was like, hey, can we do this? And then we're doing it now. Like, that's so exciting to me. And just like, we're so lucky that we get to do cool stuff like that. But I actually want to turn one of these questions on you, Bianca, which is, if you had unlimited video budget, what would you make?
Ooh. Oh, wow. God, you weren't supposed to ask me questions. I was the question asker today. So, I really love documentaries. I think the ability to kind of tell a deeper story. So I think if I had unlimited budget, I would probably just like create just like a documentary that really runs through the journey of building, runs through the journey of just like how we design, how we create, how we build software. And then if I also had unlimited budget, I think just like being able to do these like in person, kind of meeting people in their own spaces. So whether that's the founders that we've connected with or other folks, but I think on one side, it would be like deeper research. So kind of going deeper. So I think that would be the theme, right? Of both of the types of content that I would want to have, which is like being able to go deeper. I might throw in a Twilio musical in the midst.
No. Wow.
But I think, okay, maybe not the musical part, but I do think I would probably want to do some content that is Twilio at the intersection of a lot of different industries. So like if I were to create another show, that would probably be it. So like Twilio at the intersection of like Carnival, or Twilio at the intersection of, the Oscars, or so I think for me, it's kind of interesting to see how our technology overlaps with different industries. So I think that to me is just like being able to create a show about that.
Yeah. I mean, one of our original ideas for the stream was to have a, sorry, I just realized I did something that Brent wanted me not to do, which is pause before I respond. So,
we've been breaking that rule.
We've been breaking the rule.
Okay. We've been breaking that rule.
I have a Post-it right here for that, and I am ignoring it.
Oh, for real?
I have no excuse. Yeah. So anyways, the one of our ideas originally was to make like a startup and like go through the process that we would do to make the comms side of a startup here.
Stole it.
Well, I know you stole that, Brent. Or maybe we stole it from you because you've already had every streaming idea possible. Ever. It's all been done. It's not Simpsons did it. It's Brent did it.
Or didn't do it. Brent wanted to do it. Brent wanted to do it and then didn't do it.
But you're kind of doing that on Developer Lens now, where you're like making a company and you're gonna, I hope, show how all the comms shine through. I even, over this weekend was talking to like an old friend, and they're starting a business, and it's like a really high touch travel thing. And I'm like thinking to myself, I'm like, oh, I would love to like help her think through and design her, like her communication strategy with her clients, because like it should be really high touch, but it also should not be her own phone number. So it's, I don't know. I think that aspect is really exciting too, of like, how should, like, we have an opinion because we see what's possible. So how can we help influence people to build great stuff?
Wow, Alex, I don't know why Brent is so angry. Were there comments that he read that he didn't like and stuff? I don't know. Wow. Well, great. So, lots of learnings.
Sad because I didn't do it.
Lots of learnings. Well, the beautiful thing is we can always do it.
There's always tomorrow, Brent. That doesn't lead to any sort of procrastination.
At all. But no, y'all, thank you for being great sports as I asked all these bajillion questions. We got into a groove. Did y'all enjoy this? What did you learn about yourselves? How did it feel being in the interviewee seat?
I mean, I'm comfortable talking, so it doesn't really matter.
I'm sorry.
No, it's this project is like, and it's just getting started, right? I just filmed the second one last week, and we got edits on Monday, and I gotta, like, after this call, I gotta get down and like finish scripting the third one, right? Like, it's so wild. Like, this is just, it's going and going and going, and it never stops. So there's definitely it's just exciting that this is finally happening, and I'm really excited to kind of get in the groove of it all. And yeah, there's probably a lot more fun behind the scenes stuff that we're not thinking about. We did film me setting up my office and whatnot, which, may be fun one day to like cut, but
I still need to watch that. Where is that on the Riverside?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm curious about some of the aspects of that from the
production
production seed.
Yeah.
Go check that out.
Yeah, we were thinking about like where the camera angle is, like what's going on, where like my lights, I've got all these new lights. There's just a lot going on with it. And it's been really fun just to think through this and like to try to really take this thing from, nothing, like zero, like an idea to like, it's there now. And we're going to keep making these for at least another 3 months, hopefully a few years. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Brent. Any thoughts?
Well, I missed the context of the original question. Also, I'm distracted by the Brent as a CRT TV that the bot just dropped. I'm not a CRT TV.
I did.
You kind of look like a cathode. You kind of look like a CRT.
I guess a little bit, yeah.
Okay, you got some depth.
I'll grant it. I'll allow it. I guess.
Has anybody read any of, do I have any Saga fans in chat?
Do you have any?
You can answer, Brent, and I'll get where I'm going in a second.
All right, run the question by me one more time.
So my question is around what is it? Just like today's stream, it was vibes, but I was just kind of curious. Did you enjoy it? What did you learn from it?
Oh yeah,
going down memory lane. Going on reflective.
I like reflection. I like reflection on things, especially reflection on things that are like in flight and still early in the process. Cause like I feel like a lot of what I do right now is this like short loop evaluation and short loop analysis of like, is this thing that we're doing working? And if not, like in what ways is it working and in what ways is it not working on this like tight loop of like, okay, well, there's going to be another show soon, or there's going to be another tutorial soon, or we're going to need to make another thumbnail soon, or like any of these things, any of these tactics. I'm going to want to ship another short soon. Like there's this constant flux of like, just doing these real quick, like, oh, I've seen analytics over the past couple days that seems to indicate blank, or like people seem to be looking for this kind of content. I guess we should get some of that in the planning. And I think looking at something like this, we've looked at it broad picture and we've dialed down in and looking at like the narrow lens. And I think I enjoy doing that. So it's good that we got to do that here a little bit. Because I think that's how we get better over time. I've been watching and looking at the summaries of like all of your streams, and like it's been funny to look back and go, I shared a funny one with you from like mid show, like mid arc of A/B testing, where you had your sweatshirt on backwards or whatever, and like it's just funny like what AI as a second analyzer of content will pull out, and I think this is like another round with another set of eyes and another set of questions of like, is this thing we're doing right now what we should be doing? And like, are there things that we've learned? It gives us a chance to reflect. And I think that's valuable. So I'm happy to have had the opportunity to do that. Thank you for your questions.
That's beautiful. No, you're good.
Who I am properly facing.
Oh yes. No, before you dive in, Alex, I think the reason why I wanted to talk. Oh yeah, no, that's good. We can close with your tangent. I think the reason why I wanted to kind of bring up a new show, which is 1 year of doing something, you learn a lot. And they don't know that I'm gonna do this, but I'm so proud of y'all. Like I am so proud of y'all and proud of you, Alex, of just kind of like evolving and building out a new show. I'm also super, super proud of you, Brent, of just how much you just inspired action creatively for so many members of the team. Like, I feel charged up, right, to kind of try out different content mediums. I used to be very I used to be the very behind the scenes person, but I think you've empowered so many people. And Alex, like, this is not, yes, you're working with a team, but I just love how you find new creative ways to kind of tell the Twilio story, right? So I think watching this come to life, watching you just like be persistent. I feel like you were persistent on A/B testing. Now you're, persistent on Twilio updates, and just kind of seeing you bring it to life. Like, I hope that y'all are taking moments to like clap for yourselves. And I thought it was very fitting to talk about this on like almost 1 year anniversary of A/B testing, because we started off with a seed. And now we're like, okay, what else can grow from here? And so much has just sprouted from here, from the relationships to the conversations to the new shows. So I just wanted to kind of honor that in this moment.
And I think you bring up a good point, which is like, would Twilio Update have existed without A/B testing? I'm not sure, because it got you and I, Bianca, working with Brent a lot more. It got us used to being on camera more. It changed the dynamic of kind of like how I show up in this medium and got me more comfortable with it, which I again, credit to Brent for getting there. But, before this, we were doing a lot of webinars, which are one thing, but like our webinars are so much better because we're here. So like, I have no doubt that that like Twilio update, I have better camera presence because of the amount of time I spend on camera for this. And it's weird. I think I did the math. I think it was either last week. Well, a TBL was last week or the week before.
Like the 20th.
Yeah. So it was, I think so that was last week or no, 2 weeks ago. I had filmed Twilio update. We had a webinar and I think I did 4 interviews and streamed. And I was like, I was on camera for 10 hours in 1 week recording stuff. And I was like, oh my God, so much, but it's fun.
Yeah. Whew. I've had those days, man. Back when I was streaming multiple nights a week, it was like, oh man. So I would stream, I'd stream for Twilio, maybe produce somebody else for Twilio, and then stream on my channel. Like I've had some like 10-hour days before. It's brutal.
And it's the like level of I think 2 hours is about my limit. Where like after 2 hours, like the first time I filmed Twilio update, it took like 2.5 hours, and by the end I was just like, what am I doing? This last time I did in like an hour and a half, and I cruised through, and it was great.
I think that has to do with the content, though, Alex. I think if you were doing something fun in like off hours, imagine you had free time, you didn't have a kid, and you were just gonna play video games for 4 hours, or you were gonna like cook for 3 or 4 hours. I think you would feel a different vibe. I think there is something to the like having to be on in that professional context that drains a lot faster. Like you have to put your like work face on, and like you're doing work related stuff. It's a whole different vibe when you're hanging out with a chat room and like, take my content for instance, like browsing Amazon and talking about fast food for like 5 hours. Like the time goes away. Like, remember how you were early on, you're like, wow, I can't believe it's 2 hours already. Like imagine that, but it was like 5 hours. Like it really can just like disappear all of a sudden. Bianca's putting my star eyes back on. But yeah, it's just it's a different vibe when it's not work related. I think you can spend more time doing this stuff.
I think that's for sure. But it's still a different level of on. Like I've had friends who've tried to do game streaming, and like it's not the same as just playing the game, right?
Oh, it's definitely not the same as just playing the game.
It's a different vibe. Sure. But no, I even thought about doing some streaming over the holiday break. I got bored and was like, should I stream setting up Home Assistant? It was really easy, so I didn't end up doing it. But like, and I didn't know.
Look at this. Look at that flex. That was a flex. It was so easy. It was so easy. So
like I would have shown people how I took apart a Chrome box and like had to fix a screw and then install like Flash with this thing. It wasn't that hard. I also like didn't know. I was like, was I going to stream to like a UMan 66 on Twitch and have like one stream I'm ever going to do?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Yes. That is one that if that is just the one stream. But yeah, no. What is it? What are my thoughts? If you're watching this in the future, so this is our message for our future
on 2x
viewers.
speed.
If you're watching this on yes, because you chose chaos. If you're watching this 2x speed, thank you for joining us first and foremost. Thank you for being on this journey with us. Cheers to many more content adventures, and cheers to kind of building great things together. What else is on my mind?
I'm gonna go on my quick tangent really quick. Brent, this is the Chef Bot. So
yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Saga is a comic. It's really, really good. It's a deep intergalactic love story, and it's really cool. But there's like the whole there's like a kingdom of people who are all like TV screen faces, with like the king having the big screen, and like
nice.
At one point you see a janitor who's got like an old like an old. This is like a janitor character who's got like an old school TV, and like, but you remind me very much of Prince Robot the Fourth.
Okay. Yeah, I could see it. I know there were multiple inspirations for this character when it was built, by a good friend of the community. But yeah, the color scheme, at least I'll throw this out as the last little tidbit, but I know we've talked about this in the past, but the color scheme is old school Game Boy. Yeah. So it's got the gray and the pink on the sides. and then the screen is the monochrome green and dark green that you'd get on the old Game Boy.
What were some of your favorite games for original Game Boy? I mean,
you know what? I'm just like Tetris. That's a classic on that system, and then the Mario Land games. I've always been a big Mario fan, big platformer kind of person, and the Mario games on that was just like it's different. It's different. Like the games that they did on the handhelds versus the games that they did on the main consoles are super different. And I think the Mario games that came out on OG Game Boys, a lot of fun. Still fun today. Like worth playing for any of you that are like, you know, maybe too young to have played those growing up. Emulators for that will run on anything. Go check it out. Like,
really cool. I spent more hours playing Pokemon than I like Pokemon. I think I had Blue.
Yeah, see,
I care to think about.
I missed.
You're a little older. Like that was like my like prime Game Boy days, which was like middle school.
Yeah, so I mean, like I think I just kind of I'm not so old that it wouldn't have been a thing that would have been on my radar. It's just like because that wasn't on. It was not on the systems that I had first, and it wasn't nearly as popular. I think Pokemon hit its popularity stride closer to like the Game Boy Color, like that era. And I did not have a Game Boy when I would have been influenced by the Game Boy. I had my first Game Boy when it was already kind of old. I had I had a Game Boy Color when I was in high school, and that was just like I can throw this in my bag and play it during a break or something. And then I happen to remember that because I brought it to school, and I would get done with my chemistry tests like really fast because I was just good at chemistry for some reason. And then there was time left, so I would pull out my Game Boy. Well, it got to the point where when we had tests, my teacher in that class would be like, "Give me the Game Boy. I want to play while you take the test." I'm like, "You got 15 minutes, dude." But I would give it to him. But yeah, I don't know. It's fun. It's fun.
Yeah. The Game Boy Color and Pokemon came out around the same, and the Pokemon International, like in the US, came out around the same time.
I see the date on your screen, and yeah, that tracks. So I guess I did get that around the right time to have it, but I think I paid for it with my own money too, you know, because I was working.
You're an adult. Cool.
But yeah. Anyways, cool stuff.
Yeah,
I guess we're coming up on time. So
I think Thanks everyone for joining.
We did it. Thank you.
We did it. So we'll be back next week. I don't know who exactly is going to be joining us, but our goal is to get some of the champions, including RJ Pearson, at some point on the show. So we're going to get some of our champions to come and chat with us, start talking about what's coming up at Signal, which is happening in May. It's that in-person event. I think it's May, is it 14th and 15th? Yeah, it's 14th and 15th. So that's super exciting. But yeah, the next couple weeks, we're going to have some champions. We're going to have some evangelists on. Kind of some of the people building really cool stuff and talking about what you can do with Twilio. So I'm really excited for that. And what do you got going on this week or coming up on your show, Brent, on Developer Lens?
Oh, yeah. So Thursday, 2 p.m. Eastern, it's me solo because Chris is going to be on an aeroplane coming back this direction
from the clouds.
Really don't recommend that. Really don't recommend that.
No?
But
okay. Stress.
I think there's actually some regulations around that kind of stuff. I would highly recommend not doing that ever. But yeah, it's just gonna be me. So we haven't really played with it today because I think I have it scoped to just me in chat that can trigger the commands. Mm-hmm. But I've been working on. You were talking last episode. I'll preview. You were talking last episode about having a bot in chat and maybe a bot in Discord that we could send a command to and ask it about previous episodes of A/B testing, and using AI to kind of like, you know, I can see. Let me see if it'll do anything for me. Let's see. What can I ask that might work? What was the topic? What did they talk about on episode?
Go with 42.
42. and we'll see if it works.
That was Brandon Hawkins, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, if I have it running, hold on, I might have the wrong streamer bot open. Anyways, the thing is, I'm still working on it. That's not going to work because I don't actually have the thing open that actually responds to that command. But I'm working on that. So like you could ask it questions, loose questions in that format. We are gonna give you a little bit of guardrails for like what questions you can ask in the short term. Mainly because there's certain things that I'm going to hook tools up to. This is using AI assistants.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna give it some guardrails. Let me try that again. I'm gonna give it some guardrails so that like if you ask a specific type of question, maybe that's not gonna work. That's okay. You can ask it a specific type of question, and there it goes.
There you go.
There it goes. It takes a little bit of time, so I'm gonna put in a little let me look that up for you because it does take a little bit of time. But it came back and it said episode 42, hosts Alex and Bianca were joined by Brandon Hawkins, product lead for conversational AI at Twilio. Now it has more info than that, and I'm not going to dig for it. Like it has everything. And on Thursday, I'm gonna walk through. Hopefully, I'm gonna get back to working on it after this. But I'm gonna work on hooking up some tools so that some things are like guaranteed to work. Like who was the guest on episode 30 or something like that, and I know for a fact that it can fetch that because I'm hooking that up to Airtable. And I'm just going to make some tools inside of AI Assistant so that when it gets that type of question, it knows how to do it. Like who was the guest, who were the hosts, because there is some variance there, like you've done BR testing and that kind of thing, and some Alex solo shows and that kind of thing. So hopefully it'll be able to pull that. I'm also putting in stuff for where it can be found. What was the sponsored, not sponsored for episode 43 or whatever, and it can pull that out. I'm looking for the fun bits. I'm looking for like what were the topics, what were the anecdotes, and AI has been really good at pulling that out of transcripts. So I'm actually going to do a second pass on that. I did it with Claude, and I'm going to do it a second pass of it with ChatGPT, and I want to cross-reference them. I love playing with the tools, and I want to see sort of where we land with that. All that to say, Thursday I'm gonna show where I'm at and what I've done and what I'm thinking about for improvements, but I'm trying to leverage y'all's Airtable as much as possible. So I've added some fields in there. I added a host field, I added a guest field, I added a sponsored not sponsored field. I'm gonna add like a summary of main topics field, and this is all like retroactive. I'm going back to episode 1. There's some gaps. We have some shows that because this is real life, we have some shows where we're missing a recording. We have some shows where the show was kind of janky, so like it's split and I don't have a transcript. We've got some of that problem, right? For the episodes that we have,
and
I'm going back and I'm getting it. And
I hope that we get to add, Twitch and or Discord as channels for our AI assistants.
See, that would be super cool if this pushed a new medium. I'm just using the API, just like the API directly from these channels.
But, I mean, that even is an example, because they have an example of using a node like web chat, but
I think what I want to do once it's done is make a YouTube video and maybe a accompanying blog post.
A YouTube video?
Yeah, how about that? Like content. So I want to explain, hey, we have all these channels, but if you have a channel that we don't support, it's actually really easy to hook this up to AI assistants, because if you haven't looked, you've got an AI endpoint. As long as you know how to make an AI, or an API endpoint, as long as you know how to an AI API endpoint.
AI API.
As long as you know how to make an API call, you can hook this up to anything, and that's what I want to. That's what I want to do, and I want to leverage, as much as possible. I want to try to leverage tools because I think
for the AI API.
Y'all are ridiculous.
I like that Bianca puts her little British accent on for that one too.
AI API. It seems like it could be like
it's a beat. It's a beat for sure.
So Thursday.
Come join Chef Brent on
Thursday's
Developer
going to be a
Lens.
me thing. I won't be the bot guy, most likely. I'll be me. Because I haven't been the bot on that show. But because I don't have Chris, it's going to be probably an unhinged tangent fest where I'm probably doing some live coding and doing some code review, and then we probably will spend some time talking about our new company. I don't want to do too much with the company without Chris there because he's the co-founder. But our company is called Big Bun Theory.
Oh,
it is a restaurant. The big
I'm guessing
bun.
that's Frackberg, or not Frackberg. Sorry, Robertables.
No, that was actually Chris.
Oh.
So on the episode where we floated the idea, we had a whole bunch of people submitting all these different puns based on shows, and Chris thought of one in between, and we talked about it. I was like, we could do burgers, we could do sandwiches, we could do Asian buns, like anything with a bun. Like it's a whole big fusion restaurant. So like that's what we're going with. And we on the last episode we tried to design a landing page for it, and I think we're gonna hook up some more stuff, but I'm not gonna do that on Thursday because Chris isn't here.
You're missing your person. So
tune
in Thursday 2 p.m. Eastern time. Tune in next week Tuesday 2 p.m. Eastern time. Bianca and I will be back.
Tune in Friday.
What?
Super watch party on
Friday. Super watch party for Liftoff. That's gonna be amazing. We have like 117 guests lined up. Not really.
Not 117, but we do have special guests for that one.
Yeah,
and that
lots
is
of special guests
in this time slot.
We have 116 guests. You were off by one, Alex. Like,
Don't miss that one and show up late. I know that one has been starting at 3 Eastern, but it is starting at 2 Eastern because we have so much extra content. It's probably going to be a 3-hour stream. There's 2 hours worth of the videos themselves. I don't think Andrew has budgeted appropriately the time slot.
No, that's
we'll figure it out. It'll go long. We'll have a good time. Hopefully people will show up for that.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you both. We'll see you guys all soon elsewhere on the streams. Thanks everyone for joining us.
Absolutely. I'm going to roll that beautiful bean footage that I see you have down there.
You got it.
Cool. I'll see you next time, guys.
I'm Alex, and welcome to Twilio Update, your bi-weekly look at what's new with Twilio and the awesome things being created with our tech. Every 2 weeks, we'll bring you the latest from the Twilio ecosystem, fresh releases, features you need to know about, and deep dives into new products. But this isn't just about updates and demos. It's about the builders, the people creating amazing things with Twilio's technology.
Look, the most important thing is to be curious.
SMS allows people to forget that there is a UI between us.
They want somebody to understand where they're coming from and sort of work at their level.
They don't have a smartphone, but there's some patients that just want to speak on the phone.
This is the place that I need to be.
And to be sure you never get FOMO, we'll keep you in the loop on what's coming next, from events to releases to community projects. Join us every other week for Twilio Update. We can't wait to see what you build next.